Good morning. We are talking about how you can start a garden straight right on your grass. So I recorded how I started in the front, and now I'm going to show you how I started in the back. So first, let's take a look at a part of the garden, because I didn't start the garden this wide from the start. When we moved here, there was a garden here before. There was like a flower garden. Maybe I should get inside, but I thought I'll move quicker if I'm outside of the garden. So there were a garden on that's pretty much at the edge of the property. But there were wildflower, planted flower, so, and very tall, very bushy. And I believe all the way here, like from here to the end of the property, they were all wild vegetation here. So when we got here in fall, and that's how I put my plants that I have in containers at the front. But then that fall, I wanted to plant garlic, and I didn't know I think I had to get in the garden. I just didn't know what I would do with the garden itself, and I didn't know if that fall I did anything at all here. But I do know that in spring, I try to clear an area. I try to clear an area to plant the garlic. So I made 2 beds, and I'm calling it bed because it was a little bit raised. And I I believe it was still in fall. Yes, it was in fall. I ordered compost from a company, a landscape company, and I use it to upgrade the building, the side of the building, and the rest I just put some here. And then I did a second one. I believe I did a second one here, and probably a third one here. So I put the compost here, and I planted the garlic. I don't know how I was able to do that, because they were so bushy here with flowers. And I think what I did is I tried to hold some, cascade them down to the ground level as much as I can do, and I was able to plant the garlic. So that was the original place that I planted garlic in 2014, and they are still here. I'll take them out and plant them again, but by 2017 I stopped harvesting them, and I just let them grow and come back year after year. So I have garlic here, and I planted some and Egyptian onion. But then in the spring, I planted some seed, but the weed took over, and I couldn't differentiate my plants from the weeds. So what I did by that time, in 2015, I ordered wood chips from the city. So when the wood chips came, guess what? I covered the whole area with wood chips, taller than 2 feet. So there were no beds at that time. I just covered the whole area, like where I have the bed before. Just dump wheelbarrows after wheelbarrows of wood chips there. Cover everything. And in fact, the garlic pushed through just fine. And I think I did it, in fact, by the time I was harvesting the garlic. So, and I still have picture of that. So that's how I started here at the back, and I still have some of those wildflower growing here, and I transplant some to the front so that I can preserve them. Some stay, but I mulch the whole area with wood chips. But right now, you can barely see those wood chips because they broke down. And it was in 2015, 2016, and 2017 that I mulched with wood chips. By 2018 and 19, they stopped delivering them, and I switched to fall leaves. But now I have a lot of creeping Charlie here, but you can still see some of those wood chips here, but pretty much they broke down, and I'm having those living mulch on the ground now. But that's how I started here. It was very full. It just looked like I don't even know how to explain it. It was full of flowers. Like, I'm calling it flower because that was the appearance that I have of it, the area. So no like empty space to pass through, and I just have to cut them down, and I put the compost down and start growing my garlic, and later cover with wood chips. By summer 2015, I start harvesting the garlic, and I just cover the whole area with wood chips, and I just move along the way and cover the whole garden with wood chips. That's how I started the backyard garden, where there were existing flower garden, flowers that I couldn't manage. There were some trees, and the previous owner was a little bit old, and she used to be a big gardener, but I think at that time she couldn't manage the garden, and she just let everything grow. So she moved out months before we moved in, so things were out of control when we got here. But that's how I started my garden. I didn't till the ground or anything. I just moved someplace out of the way so that I can put my garlic down, and later I just covered the whole area with wood chips. That's how I started. So depending on where you are living, you wanted to start. Now I gave you two options: my front yard, how I started on the grass, and my backyard, one side of my backyard, how I started on an existing flower garden. And you can see the flowers, some of them are still here. I cover those flowers with wood chips, and yet they grew past it, and they are still here. 6 years later, they are still growing here. And I believe they are lilies. They grow tall and have those kind of trumpet flower. You can still see them here. But then I have my garden growing too. So that's how I started here, and I have a lot of plants here, but we are not going to get into that. Thank you for watching. I'm Afiavi Ojune Liberman, creators of Liberman Consulting L.L.C YouTube channel and owners of Nina Soap. Now website is ninasoap.com.